And we are off. We got pretty much everyone starting in Link's house. We got one versus down to the sanctuary. Just a map in the sanctuary today, and we had a single arrow in Link's house.
So not a whole heck of a lot in those first couple of chests, but that's pretty much the usual these days, it seems.
We might have a early Houlihan play by Dark Shadow and by kohrek.
Yeah, a favorite move for a lot of runners in any Keysanity race. You never know if you're going to have enough money when you need to pay up the bottle vendor and anything early like Zora or something like that. So not a bad play to go for Houlihan, pick up some cash early on.
Let's get those quick bombs from the hut too if you need to get into the back of Kakariko well or down in the blind side as well. And there's some money from the uncle escape.
So yeah, this early on, that kind of makes the Houlihan play a little less desirable, but I mean, kohrek and Dark Shadows don't know that, so they want to get the money this way. That's totally fine.
Puts the scamfish in the play as well once we head up to Zora.
Definitely, and Zora has been, I've seen Zora holding quite a few things lately, so, you know, it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, just earlier today, Zora had our Titans mitts.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, that's something that he could have for sure. So looks like we've got Sigma and Solski heading over to Lost Woods area, on their way to Kakariko likely at this point. We're going to get a check of the Lumberjack Cave from Solski, it looks like.
Tree pole is $80, so nice tree pole there.
Meanwhile, kohrek and Dark Shadows, they're making the Eastern Palace play, which has also been a popular route for a lot of players.
Starting out with a big heart, and we got powder on the Lumberjack ledge.
Oh boy, if the Bat Cave has something. And vanilla green pendant here, Eastern Palace today.
Small key to Castle Tower. You don't want to see those early.
Yeah, uh-oh. I don't like that.
We need 2 of those to fully climb Aghanim's Tower.
If we start to see things like the lamp, cape, sword, 1 or 2 sword upgrades, then we're maybe thinking about doing the Aga Tower.
Yeah,
Still
that's 6 minutes of misery.
Yeah.
Now, there are 2 chests in there now, so it makes that climb not as painful.
That's true. You could also find something progression-related up that way, for sure.
See what Kakariko Dam holds for us today, just a piece of heart. Looking at Sigma's side, we're going to see what's in the chicken hut. Just a big 20 in the chicken hut. Bottom merchant having a worthless small key to Ice Palace.
That's nice. Dark Shadows will begin us our first look at some of the chests here in Eastern Palace. Piece of heart first, so nothing yet. Oh, there's the Moon Pearl in the drained swamp there.
Yeah, we got a soggy Moon Pearl.
Sigma's dropped down into the Kakariko well. A couple of chests here, so hopefully we'll find something progression-related.
Now, we see kohrek in the mini Moldarm Cave. These are a little bit annoying to fight with just bombs. Got to be very careful about where you toss them.
Wow, is that 2 fire sources in the Kakariko well there? Is that the fire rod and then the lamp?
So that's kind of like a fire cave going on. There's our mitts. And Arcana Samaria. Mini Moldarm Cave having a lot of nice stuff for us, though.
Get a look at Blind's hut here. Piece of heart. The mirror. Another piece of heart. And the ether medallion. So based on everything that we're picking up so far, it's looking like we're going to have Dark World access fairly soon. I'm thinking like the hammer is going to show up, and that will, at least for now, kind of quell the AGA 1 plays.
Yeah, at this point it would be a hammer or possibly Titan's mitts.
Yeah, we've got quite a few pieces for that are very close to Dark World access, so it's likely that we'll pick up one more along the way here.
Blue Rupee, a small key to Turtle Rock, and just some money in category back of escape. We got our check on race game by Sigma.
Dark Shadows finding a key to Palace of Darkness there. That is one of 6 keys for Palace of Darkness. A very tough dungeon to root, depending on how many keys you have going into it. So as our runners kind of crisscross each other's paths here, just want to take a quick shout out to our trackers today. We've got Kippy00 and Jixon doing some work behind the scenes for us here. So, shout outs to them. And in chat here, if you see them miss something, give it a little bit of time. But if you want to politely remind them of an item, then please do.
Solski about to grab their Moon Pearl as well. Kohrek grabbing their small key from the bottle merchant.
It'll be interesting to see where our runners decide to go next. Now that we've seen most of these kind of early locations, we haven't found anything that really gets us to a lot of different places. So I'm thinking that Hyrule Castle is going to have something of value.
We do have that one key so far. We need one more to even get up there. Still need 2 swords.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, maybe in the front of escape, I guess, something like that. There might be an item.
We have a Gina's Cave, too.
And then, of course, I don't think anyone's been to Zora yet, so that's another item location.
Ice Cave just having a piece of heart.
That seems about right for the Ice Rod Cave. Ooh, Solski taking a death on their way up to the Ice Rod Cave.
And we do have gloves, so that puts Zora into play. At least the big fish himself. So we can get to the big fish, since we do have that mitts. We do have enough money for him as well.
Yeah, it'll just be... it's one of those plays that's a little bit out of the way, so the first person to take the gamble will have a bit of an advantage, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Gina's Cave, where it's a bit of a pain. Alright, so now they're all kind of doing the same Sphere Zero type of moves. Looks like Sigma might be heading down towards the prison escape part of the seed, though.
Yeah, this will be our first look at this. So we've got what, 1, 2, 3 items, and then the sewers. So there's potential for 4 items per progression here. Saw the blue mail, or a mail upgrade at least, up on the Hylia Island there. I don't know if our runners are going to go for that. It might be a play to make if you're thinking that it's you need a little bit of extra safety there.
Depends on how health starved the seed is. Right now they're sitting at 4 and 5 hearts about. If it continues like this and the trend is late hearts, they might pick that up. Sigma just letting the guard kill himself by walking that Samaria block.
It's not often that you get to see Samaria strats here in the escape portion here.
Yeah, Kenneth Samaria is one of those items that likes to troll people. Come up later on in the seed. Getting it very early is a nice feeling.
Yeah, especially when you don't have too much else to use as an offensive weapon. I like how he's just kind of like gently pushing it a little closer to the guards. Come on, just walk right into it.
Yeah, it's like nudge, nudge. There you go, nudge. So much nothing doing in the prison escape though.
Ooh, I guess Kohrek's making the play up to Death Mountain, which we've got the lamp, so with that we can get up there, and with the mirror we can also get up into the first little bit of Tower of Hera.
So we have a heart container on Spectacle Rock, and on the drop-down part we have a key. So I'll probably pick that up.
Yeah, you never like to leave any keys on the map there. You just want to pick up every one of them, just in case, even if it's one of those Skull Woods keys. Okay, so I guess Kohrek's gonna just pass on it for now. That's all right. If he's missing a key later on, he knows where one is.
So we are in Tower Hera. He has 5 bombs to work with and the Cane of Samaria.
But after this, we've only got access to one more chest here, so we'll have to see if this one pays off.
That's our hammer, so it definitely did pay off.
Wow, fantastic.
So it does give Kohrek Dark World access now.
And seeing as they're up at Tower of Hera, they can also get over to east side of Death Mountain with that hammer, so that'll be a nice play over for another 7, 8 some odd chests or so.
Solski digging around in Eastern, right behind him. And Dark Shadows is down in the escape. Not going to find too much down here. That key was a key to Turtle Rock, so Kohrek did pick that up.
Looking to try and set up one of the trickiest bomb jumps there. Unfortunately, just fallen right down, but that's okay. That's a really tough one to pull off.
He will probably head down and check out the cave formerly known as Hype, in the area around that as well.
Yeah, this is a nice first play into the Dark World. Early on, you're either going to Village of Outcasts or kind of down here to Hype Cave, and with no real incentive to go up that way, maybe Skull Woods, but I don't mind the play here for Hype Cave.
Game has been very giving in the early 15 minutes.
I agree. Ah, there we go. There's the hook shot.
Big key to Cannon's Tower and Hype Cave. That's pretty hype.
This has been a hype cave.
The Hype Cave's coming through for us today.
Ganon's Tower Big Key is a nice item to find early on. You can just like, tuck it away. Don't think about it for the rest of the race. You've got it.
So we had Skullwoods we had Skullwoods as one of them, and I didn't see what the first one was.
Misery Mire as our 5-6 crystals there.
Very nice. And we do have that fire rod, so we can get into the back of Skullwoods.
And now knowing that it is one of the 5-6 crystals, maybe kind of moves you towards going into that dungeon, finishing it off as soon as you maybe get a sword, I guess, is what we're looking for now.
Just some dirty money from the dig spot.
DarkShadows found a bottle and is trading into the sick kid here. Just a cart container. That's nice, but not really something you're needing in any kind of race.
Kohrek's gonna check out the Grove Ledge, and we have just 20 bucks, so nothing on the Grove Ledge for us today. And Sigma picking up a key to Dark Palace.
So Solski's got the right idea here, much like Kohrek did earlier, heading up to Death Mountain here. Tower of Hera's got the hammer in it, so that'll be much well received by Solski. I'm sure he'll know what he's got to do next, I guess. Will be interesting to see if maybe he goes over to East Death Mountain.
See how many digs we get today in the dig game. There's gonna be quite a few of them, it looks like. All that for just a heart container.
Looks like DarkShadows is going to give us our first look at Agina's Cave.
Yeah, Agina's Cave is one of those weird ones that's so out of the way that it can be a little funny to get to. Desert Ledge just having 20 bucks for us. Sigma having a little bit of a foul of the old man. Does get his shovel though.
So Solski is making the play over to East Death Mountain. There's a lot of chests here, all kind of grouped together. So I think it's a good play based on density of items you can find here.
And just a couple bombs in Agina's Cave. Looks like Kohrek is making that play to the Skullwood section of the forest. Kohrek can also jump down to the Thieves' Tower and get the first 4 chests there. Can't get to the back part without that big key though.
And Solski found the small key to Swamp Palace there. And that looks like our first sword and the Titan's Mitts. So Solski making the play over to East Death Mountain has really paid off.
And Kohrek just picked up a big key. I did not catch what it was. We also had a Titan's Mitts pick up.
That was the big key to Turtle Rock in the treasure game there.
Sigma grabbing his hammer as well, so he's right on Kohrek's heels. Looks Looks like Sigma's going to stay up on Death Mountain to go towards the eastern side of it. So he'll get his goodies that Solski just got. Solski, kohrek also getting our second Castle Tower key.
And he also just picked up the cape, so now he has all the pieces to take on Aga 1 if he chooses to. Only thing we would want to use do that for, I think, at this point, would be the powder that is there on the Lumberjack Cave.
Yeah, with Solski having those Titan's mitts, plus the hammer, plus the mirror, that pretty much opens up the whole world. We don't even need the flippers at this point. We might for Swamp. Yeah, but Aghanim himself is out of the picture. Unless we need that powder.
Yeah, barring something kind of strange. I mean, the seed could still bring it, but for now it looks like it's on life support. It's clinging to life here, but chances are pretty slim.
With that early cane, if we get him across the mushroom, we can always use that fake powder as well.
That is true. Added bonus to finding the Titan's mitts on East Death Mountain there is picking up the Dark Death Mountain items as well while you're here in one go, kinda.
We just saw Solski pick up another medallion. He got the Quake medallion in the Super Bunny Cave.
And it looks like DarkShadows is pulling off a fake flipper minor glitch here to check out what the hobo might have.
Sigma's in Paradox Cave, gonna get his goodies over here, gets his Titan's mitts and his sword. And his first bottle.
So the only part of this play over to Dark Death Mountain here for Solski that isn't going to work out is the Hookshot Cave. We hear that kohrek has picked up the Hookshot, and that was down in Village of Outcasts or in Thieves Town, I guess. Oh, so our flippers were hanging out on the floating island there.
Our hookshot was actually in Hype Cave.
Oh, that's right. Of course it was. Ugh.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that Hype Cave was actually worthwhile today.
Right, it was actually hype for a change, of course.
That and Gans Tower's key. Can't forget Gans Tower's key. Gonna check the graveyard ledge, and we're gonna check and see what medallion we need for Turtle Rock momentarily. So we just need Quake for Turtle Rock. It looks like Palace of Darkness was a crystal today.
Now I wonder if Solski is going to make a play into Turtle Rock here. With the cane, with 3 small keys, they can at least get, halfway in.
Kohrek is going back over towards the Dark World.
Entering from the swamp area, are we going to be seeing, like, I don't know, Pyramid Ledge and maybe up into Aga Tower?
Yeah, probably check out Catfish as well. We don't have very many pot. We don't have any. We do have 2 pot keys, so we could poke around in pot if he chooses to. Solski going with the very early Turtle Rock dip. This is a play you don't see very often.
No, it's true.
But he does have 3 keys. So you get all the way up to, I believe, Laser Bridge at this point.
We'll need the big key to get right to the back there. So we can get as far as Mimic Cave?
Taking a death, unfortunately. Those spike rollers kind of hurt.
Yeah, green mail, yeah, they would definitely do some damage.
With all the items that the seed's given us so far, pedestal hopes are looking a little bit on the slim side. Still got a lot of keys, though.
Yeah, it's been a little light on keys, especially big keys, so still quite a few of those out there in the wild. So Solski finding a fairy in a bottle there, and is going to be heading a little further into Turtle Rock here.
Sigma also with the very early Turtle Rock dip. I think he did the intentional death port in this case. Kohrek making that dip in the Aghanim Tower, so we'll see what those two chests hold for us. Half Magic, very nice pickup. It's one of those nicety items that we don't necessarily need, but it's definitely nice to have.
Yep. And one thing that Kohrek is still looking for is a sword. The only one that we've seen so far has been on East Death Mountain.
And now just 3 bombs for the dark part of Aghanim Tower, so nothing there. But Kohrek is going to go check the sewer escape perk.
So on the lava island here in Turtle Rock, we found the Eastern Palace Big Key.
And that Eastern Palace is our green pendant.
Yeah, so while not required, I mean, it could lead to something for sure. So I guess that means that we don't know if it's required yet or not.
See what Mimic Cave has for us. And DarkShadows is now making his play into Tower of Hera to grab his hammer.
So just a compass in the Mimic Cave there. So the early turtle dive, not really paying off too big. But you know, if you're right there, you know, it's not a wrong play to give it a go and see what's in there.
So we have a little bit of discussion in chat about compasses and maps. So basically, since this is Keysanity, they're going to serve a little bit of a different purpose. Your compasses are going to tell you how many items in a dungeon you've picked up. You'll see that in the upper part of the screen, right below where the rupee count is. Your maps, however, actually serve some different purpose altogether. Since this is Keysanity, we don't know what dungeons have crystals or pendants in them. Those maps will let us know exactly what we're looking for.
That's right. It adds a little bit of nice functionality to the maps because usually they're just a throwaway item. But you know, throwing them into the item pool and finding them out in the world, making them kind of give you a little bit of a hint as to whether or not you need to complete a dungeon or not is a nice touch.
You probably won't go out of your way to pick one up, like if it's on Bunker Cave, for example, but you won't pass them down, it's right in your path.
Yeah, absolutely.
Solski did grab his hook shot and his Ganon's tower key. Sigma, on the other hand, is making that play possibly up to Village of Outcasts, so he won't be too far behind.
I wonder if Solski is going to make a play into Swamp Palace early on. They have everything that they need to complete the dungeon, as they found the Swamp Palace small key up there on East Death Mountain. I don't know. It might be a thing I would try.
I assume Sigma has that also because he covered Solski's same path.
Yes, I think I see that on the tracker there. So yeah, I think Sigma might also be one of those ones one of the players who might go for that if they get down to Hype Cave, I guess, first. But looks like they're heading into Thieves Town at this time.
We can't do a ton here in Thieves Town. We can get those 4 chests, but we are still watched by that big key door.
Yeah, first 4 for Thieves Town is a pretty common play for a lot of players to make, and it's not a bad one. It'd be nice in Keysanity. I find it's a lot better to go in once you already have the big key, but you know, you go for the checks when you can make them, I guess.
Kohrek, on the other hand, is checking out what our second fish has for us. Just a scam by the catfish for us today. And now he's heading over to the real scam fish. So chat, are we gonna get a life lesson here, or are we gonna get a good item?
Heart container on the Zora ledge there. I don't think that's going to tempt our runners at this point. Wow, that Zora is a terrible deal there.
Yeah, give him 500, get 5 back. Sigma grabbing his cape.
So we're 32 minutes in at this point, and the seed hasn't really given us any clear indication which dungeons we're supposed to go to. Having the fire rod, you might think that Skull Woods is a pretty decent play. We need to get that sword, I think, before you can consider that, because I think Kohrek was the first to have the fire rod. Or at least first into the Dark World over in that area, but couldn't go through Skullwoods because he does not have a sword at this time.
He is returned to Death Mountain to get the spots that he skipped on earlier on.
Yeah, so he's going to finish this part off, and I wonder if then Skullwoods becomes the play. We've got Swamp Palace, which is in logic at this point.
DarkShadows grabbed his Ether Medallion, and Solski grabbed his key. His bottle, I should say. Of course, I grabbed his power gloves and his sword. And we got the bug net on the pyramid, so we can start capturing some fairies if we choose to. Looks like Dark Shadow saw something on that floating island that he wanted because he's walking over there.
Yes, that is, the flippers are on there, I believe. So Sigma's choosing to do the blacksmith and purple chest route here. They'll work that in likely with the Hype Cave check, pick up the hook shot and Ganon's Tower, big key.
We're also going to get a early peg check by Sigma here.
And interesting to note that Kohrek will be our first of the 4 runners to be up on Dark Death Mountain with the hookshot. So we'll get a look at some of the other items that are in Hookshot Cave.
We got a baby shield in the hookshot cave. Otherwise, nothing really of note. Pot small key, not a bad pickup. And Solski did opt in to grab that blue mail off Hylian Ledge.
And it's kind of interesting that Dark Shadows has also taken a look into Turtle Rock here. So that makes 3 of 4 runners so far that have decided to take an early peek into Turtle Rock.
And Kohrek is about to grab his flippers as well. So now, if you're playing this, Sabo, when do you go into the swamp? What's your thought process on that?
You know, I probably would have been in Swamp Palace already. I think with Keysanity, there's a lot of value in doing a lot of overworld stuff before dungeon diving, because you don't want to double dip, you don't want to triple dip, but it's just kind of part of how Keysanity is, it seems. I would be in Swamp Palace like right away.
Yeah, I think Sigma's going to head over to Hype Cave once he gets back to the Dark World, grab his hook shot. Now they'll just look to play that Sigma's going to be making, heading over towards Swamp Palace after Adrian gets his hook shot.
Yeah, I think Sigma, of our 4 runners here, being so close, picking up the hookshot, which is the last piece of the puzzle there, it's right there. Just go for it, I think.
Solski, on the other hand, is going to check out Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb. Spots that we've already seen, didn't really have a ton in there. Be interesting if Kohrek also missed that early dip into a Turtle Rock. It does look like Sigma's going to be dipping into Swamp Palace at this point. Has everything you need to clear it, so we'll see what items we have here.
I mean, there are, let's see, they don't have the big key, so it's going to be 9 item locations that they'll be able to check. And if it is a crystal dungeon, you're also knocking that off. So I think it's a good play.
Yeah, the game hasn't been too given with maps. We don't really know what is what at this point, other than each of them being a green pendant, and we had to have our 5-6 crystals as well.
Yeah, and when you don't get a whole lot of help with the maps early on, you've just got to kind of, bite the bullet, take a risk, and head into a dungeon.
And Kohrek is making that dip into Turtle Rock. Going to be stopped at pretty much the same part. He does have the big key here, though.
He has the big key, so if he can, he'll have just enough keys to get to the big chest. I don't know if he has enough to get to the laser bridge. He might be 1 short. We'll see. If he doesn't open that middle lava island chest, then he'll have enough keys to get to laser bridge.
What he can do is, if he chooses to, he could open that chest and reset his game.
That is a possibility, yeah.
Solski getting his catfish money.
So it looks like Dark Shadows is heading over to likely into the Dark World, so Village of Outcasts and Skull Woods. I wonder if they go into Skull Woods. I don't think we've seen any runner actually even take a look in.
No, we haven't yet, which is interesting since we did have the early fire round. Not a ton yet in Swamp. Haven't seen anything really progressive-wise.
Hmm. Ooh, Dark Shadows getting beat up by those beetles, unfortunately. Oh, we find the flute in Skull Woods.
Definitely a nice item to pick up with our mitts. That unlocks our access to not only desert but into mire as well, depending on the pendant required.
Yeah, that's a really nice find. That kind of like is the last piece of the puzzle to like fully open up this seed for the runners.
Yeah, that ease of access to travel is just so nice to have also.
And we've got Solski heading into Ice Palace here. That is an interesting play. We've got all the pieces as well for this dungeon, so why not go for it?
And we just found the Desert Palace key in Skullwoods as well. See, it's just throwing everything everywhere at once.
Yeah, the way it's kind of opened up, there's opportunity for value to be everywhere. Big Key to Misery Mire is in Ice Palace.
Nice to help us get to Vitreous if we need to.
Huh, even left side swamp, a little bit of a bust there. I find that is always one of those like hiding spots for like real key items.
Yeah, especially in modes, not so much Keysanity, but open and standard, where that no one wants to check that side until the very last minute. Keysanity, however, makes every check more vital because you can't take those gambles that you do in open and standard.
Oh wow, that was a vanilla troll rock key here deeper into the dungeon.
That's a pretty nice find. That lets him go all the way up to Trinix if he chooses to, but it also lets him check that lava bridge just if he wants to go that route. Can't beat Trinix without the ice rod, so we'll see what he chooses to do.
This is really interesting. We've got all four runners in different dungeons right now, showing us new things that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, this kind of see that just shows you just how interesting Randomizer can be. This has been a very open seed where some are very closed off. That's our big key for Skull Woods. One of those keys that isn't really necessary most of the time. And another Skull Woods key. So really, overall, not a ton of value into Turtle Rock today.
And I think Solski just found the vanilla big key for Ice Palace in the dungeon itself here.
Gets him to that Ice Palace big chest, and once he goes over there, and we do have a Argus fight by Sigma. Going to be our first boss takedown of the seed.
This is not a fun fight with the fighter's sword. You got to spin slash each one of these little puff guys, so spin to win here.
One more puff to go, and then just phase 2 of Argus. Not that bad of a challenge, especially with Fire Rod. Kind of get him trapped in the corner, he can't do much to you.
Wow, Dark Shadows took down Mahula there with a fighter's sword and only 3 hearts. Very nice. And being one of our 5-6 crystals, that is always nice to pick up. You know, picking up the 6th crystal will the other of the 5-6 crystals will then open up the Pyramid Fairy as well later on.
It's just those 2 extra items that you can pick up along the way. So we're making quick work of Argus, grabs his crystal from the swamp, and he'll be on his way.
And we found silver arrows there on Argus.
That would be a nice for Sigma once he gets his bow, especially if he chooses to fight Vitreous late or Helmasaur King late. Make very quick work of him. And Thieves Sound looks to be our last pendant.
Oh wow, we just found the D in the Skullwood's big chest.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge item to find. Especially with a early silver pickup. And thank you to Azul2003 for that Twitch Prime sub. Thank you for supporting Speed Gaming.
So basically, what we're looking at with the logic of the game here is that the laser bridge was required to get the Skullwood's big key, and then that is where we found the bow in the big chest here. That is pretty trolly. I don't know if our runners who have already dipped Turtle Rock are going to head back there anytime soon.
Yeah, especially being how far out of the way Turtle Rock is. That could be one of those spots to check dead last in the seed. Solski making very nice work of Cold Stare.
And Ice Palace was a crystal. So Dark Shadows fresh off of their Mothula takedown. They're heading into Village of Outcasts now. Maybe take a peek into Thieves Town as well.
That's just a matter of how long will that Turtle Rock gamble pay off for the other 3 runners. Who's going to get back there first? Now, we do want to reiterate that we are watching 2 separate races. We are watching kohrek versus Sigma on the top. We are watching Dark Shadows versus Solski on the bottom. So while you are watching 4 people, it is 2 separate, distinct races.
Kohrek making extra sure not to get grabbed by the wall master there. Don't blame him at all.
I feel like I just have to kind of dance with the spikes and get in hits when you can. Kohrek makes very quick work of them, though.
And it looks like Solski will be the next to take on the Moth in just a few minutes, I'd imagine.
Interesting that most people have killed a boss and they're all separate bosses other than the Moth. We have 2 Moths, a Cold Stare, and a Argus.
Yeah, again, really highlighting the way the seed has been opened up and given our runners a bunch of different options to take.
This is the kind of seed that I kind of find a little bit on the unnerving end, just because you have so many places to go. I feel it's a little bit easier to forget things.
It is. When so many things open up to you all at the same time, you feel like you might be forgetting something.
Kind of like Magic Bat and the powder that's an Agnum Ledge.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, that could still be in play. And, like, with so much else open in the world, are our runners going to go running back to Aga Tower? Like, I don't think so.
So the Thieves Town Big Key is still at large. Can't really do much in Thieves Town yet. Not really sure where they want to head now, out to next. Maybe Desert, since they have the Big Key down there. They'll be looking to Lamola.
Yeah, Desert at this point would not be a bad play, considering we've seen a fair chunk of the game so far. It'll be interesting to see if Kohrek heads over to Eastern Palace with the bow in hand, or pod perhaps.
He does have 3 pod keys, so he can do quite a bit of work there. You kind of want to have 5, but 3 will get you through a lot of it.
And I do apologize for talking over the Hylian national anthem there. Swag Duck has been released.
Kohrek doing his hammer peg check. I don't believe there's anything of note down here.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, just 50 bucks. Gonna bring the frog home, and then be interested to see where Kohrek decides to head off to next.
So yeah, it'll be a lot of retracing of steps here for the next little while, because we've seen all of our runners kind of branch out and do different dungeons, and now they're going to start to do some of the dungeons that their opponent might have done, as is what often happens on a seed that's kind of open like this. Eventually, you kind of start crossing paths, and but it'll be interesting to see if we see any kind of like different plays on different dungeons. From some of our runners.
Yeah, different gambles, or even if they choose to gamble in general. You don't see a ton of gambles with Keysanity as you would in normal or open, just given how much importance is put on pretty much every chest in Keysanity mode.
Yeah, general like clear rates with Keysanity are much higher than open and standard mode, where you're looking at, you know, somewhere in the range of 150, 160, 170, even higher than that number of chests checked. Whereas in open or standard seeds, you easily cruise through with like about a 130 or 140.
Looks like Kurt's making the decision to drop down into the Meyer area. Big key to Hera, so that opens up Hera to him now.
Will be interesting to see if they decide to take a look in Meyer. Not having the big key, it's less of an attractive gamble, but there's still a lot of value to be found in there. You'd have access to about 6 chests, but you'll also have access to quite a few chests here in Desert Palace, or a few at least. We don't have the small key for that right side where there's 2 more items.
We don't have the boots, so we can't get the torch item either.
At least have the knowledge,
we can't go
I
kill
guess.
Lemola, though.
That is true. A mystery small key there on the torch.
That's the kind of thing that would stick in the back of my mind for the rest of the seed until I pick that up. And that's actually a huge, big key for Kurek to pick up. That was a big key to Thieves Town, so he can now go into Thieves Town and pretty much clear it out.
I believe we have confirmation that that is a pendant dungeon, but it also does, you know, I mean, that's 4 more items you can check, so it's not a bad idea to maybe check it out at some point.
Can't get to the big chest quite yet because we still need that small key, but we can get the blind, take blind out, see what she has, and look around the rest of the dungeon as well.
The real crucial play will be when our runners, besides Kohrek, decide to go back up to Turtle Rock. I think there's there's a couple of key items up there that they're going to need to grab.
Sigma grabbing his key to Desert, so we'll see if that kind of sends him back that way. The problem is with everyone else already clearing out Skull Woods, even getting that big key up in Turtle Rock might not send them back here for quite a while.
Yep.
Kohrek making very, very quick work of Lemola as grabs his crystal. So we do have Kohrek making our first adventure into Misery Mire with the Quake Medallion. Both of the dungeons you need a Quake today.
I've been a fan of the Misery Mire play lately. It does seem to have a lot of value in it, or at least maybe that's just the runs I've been doing. But if you're in the neighborhood, it has a lot more value in Keysanity than it does in standard or open. Kind of unfortunate for our runners that they are all still sitting on Fighter Sword.
Yeah, it's been that kind of seed where not a lot of survivability. We're very low on hearts as well.
Yeah, we're an hour in, and I don't think anyone has more. Is that 10 hearts? Maybe is the most we see here.
Yeah, that's the way it looks. I mean, we do have blue mail, so it's not as bad. But Dark World Limit still did quite a bit of damage. We still haven't touched Pod at all, so Pod could have quite a bit for us.
That's true. And kohrek with the bow makes that a bit more of an attractive play, I think. And finding the ice rod here in Misery Mire.
That'll just finish off Turtle Rock, which we know at this point we believe it's a crystal.
Yeah, if it wasn't a crystal, I think it would be kind of weird. We've been given too much to get into the dungeon at this point.
Oh, we do have one more pendant at large, so it's either going to be between Hare or Tortorok of which one is going to be our final pendant. Sigma is dealing with the big moth now. Problem with moth is you gotta be kind of careful of when exactly you hit him so you don't bounce him into those spikes.
Yeah, for whatever reason, bouncing him into those spikes and he takes no damage.
Down goes the moth. Sigma gets to move on from Skull Woods. He will have to come back eventually. Now the question is, when will Sigma head back, either to Pod or up to Turtle Rock?
Yeah, these are the kind of plays that he's going to have to make. I mean, definitely the play up to Turtle Rock to pick up the bow. But what else can they do? Eventually, they're going to start to run out of options, I think.
Gonna unlock his flute. That might send him back up to Death Mountain to hopefully go back to Turtle Rock. We'll see where he chooses to go after this. He might also go into Mire, though.
Yeah. I feel like picking up the flute, you've got the Titan's Mitts. One of the first places that I would check would be the Mire area, at least. I wonder if we'll see Solski take a step into Swamp Palace after doing the purple chest here. He'll be in the right neighborhood for it, so maybe just go for it at that point.
And Sigma's going to play into ice.
Yeah, this is not a bad idea. It's a crystal dungeon, as we know. And I believe there was a big key in here.
Yeah, I believe there. Well, no, because there's the big key to Ice Palace, so
vanilla. Yeah,
there wasn't much of anything in there. Big key to Mire. Okay, so that gets him into Mire now. So there are two big keys in Ice Palace.
and with that big key to Mire, I mean that means that it's fully completable at this point. We have everything else that we need to do that dungeon. So that's kind of too bad for kohrek, who took the dive into Mire without the big key.
Yeah, especially considering that Mire is our second of the 5-6.
That's right, yeah. So kind of an important one to maybe clear off sooner rather than later, I would think. And we've got Dark Shadows using some menu strats here. Hammer and hookshot for the Argus fight.
Sigma nails the Ice Palace bomb jump first try. It looks like Kohrk's gonna finish off Hera, so we'll get the full picture of the story of what we need for crystals and pendants.
This is a pretty good call, because even if it does turn out to be a pendant, it's a relatively quick clear, so I don't mind this play at all.
Dark Shadow finishing Arcus, grabbing his silvers, grabbing his crystal. Done with Swamp for now. And that was our second blue mail in Hera, so we'll get red mail once we come back there with the blue mail runners.
Yep, the other mail upgrade being on the Hylia Island.
Alright, so we see everyone's favorite giant worm, Trolldorm. Let's see if he claims a victim today or not.
Trolldorm is one of those really frustrating bosses. When you fall to him, like, you just feel like garbage. And it's just an unnecessary time wasting, it feels like. You're just, like, wasting so much time climbing back up to fight him again.
Especially that middle hole.
Ugh, that's the worst. But no problem for kohrek there.
And Tower of Hera is just our red pendant today.
So that means that Turtle Rock will be the final crystal. That clears up the picture entirely for us there.
And with kohrek already up in Death Mountain, he's probably going to take a quick walk over there and finish that off since he's already done most of it.
So all in all, that makes this a pretty friendly seed dungeon-wise. We've got almost everything that we need to get through all of these dungeons that are left. We're just looking for Pod Big Key. And that might be about it. But we've actually seen the Pod Big Key. I'm not sure where Sigma picked that up now. Sigma and Dark Shadows both have the Pod Big Key.
I believe that was in Swamp Palace.
Ah, okay. So, I mean, yeah, basically everything is accounted for except for a couple of small keys for Pod. And that might be about it. Maybe the boots if the... No, I don't know. I think we're pretty much good at this point.
There's that one mystery small key on the torch in desert, but we don't know what that is yet. Sigma dropping down to take on Cold Stare. Shouldn't be too much trouble for him.
Yeah, I think at this point we're also just looking for a sword upgrade, obviously. But if we don't find one kind of on our way here, Ganon's Tower has a lot of chests, and there might be one kind of lurking in there.
Sigma making very nice work of Cold Stare, finishing off the giant eyeballs. Now, kohrek does have one more key under his belt, so he can go up to where Trinex is. They just gotta hope that that lava chest has nothing for him.
Yeah, we saw it much earlier, and it was the Eastern Palace Big Key. I believe it was Solski, and it looks like Dark Shadows also picked that up.
Alright, so then we gotta hope that our green pendant doesn't have anything, or there's nothing in Armos.
Yeah, definitely.
Or on the pedestal, for that matter.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, so we've got Dark Shadows and Solski who have already used up one of their Turtle Rock keys for that lava island. They're going to need one more Turtle Rock key to get all the way to Trinex, which we know we have to finish at some point.
To answer your question in chat, kohrek has already been here. He's already done the laser bridge. That is where he got his big key to get his bow out of Skullwoods.
Solski picks up his ice rod there in the mire.
Kohrek with a very, very nice Trinex fight. Takes out the giant lizard. Done with Turtlerock for now. Might have to come back yet later. We don't know quite yet.
So we've got some nice dungeon sync up here. We've got Dark Shadows and Sigma both taking on the back half of Desert Palace here, heading towards Land Molus. Looks like Kohrek's going to head over to the Spike Cave. We haven't seen that yet, I don't believe.
See what lies here. It isn't logical since we do have the cape. And just a heart container, so not a ton of worth in that Spike Cave for us. Sigma, on the other hand, is going to have a date with Mola momentarily.
Seems like it's a bit of a double date. Dark Shadows and Sigma both taking on Land Molus at the same time here.
Sigma with a very, very quick zero cycle.
Looks like Kohrek is going to be heading into Pod at this time, which makes sense. They don't really have a whole heck of a lot of other places to check out at this point, so it's about time to dive in, I think.
He does have that bow, so that means it's a lot more open for him. He does have at least 3 keys, so he'll be able to do quite a bit of damage here. Doesn't have the big key quite yet, so he won't be able to finish it, but he'll get what he can out of here and move on.
And seeing as we've seen so few Palace of Darkness keys at this point, I'm wondering if there are a couple kind of hiding in the dungeon itself.
Yeah, that's always a chance you gotta take. Sometimes there's keys in their vanilla dungeons.
So Solski is going to be our first runner to finish off Misery Mire here. We saw that the big chest was just a piece of hearts, so not a whole heck of a lot, but the Vitreous fight is coming up shortly, and we'll find out if Vitreous is holding anything. And it will be another crystal. They'll be one of the 5/6, so that's nice to pick up.
Yeah, let's just check out what Pyramid has for us as well. If he chooses to go down to open it up for us, which I'm pretty sure he will. Dark Shadows is right on Solski's heels and going through this mire area. That's a signal, so all 3 of them are in the mire section now.
Yeah, despite the openness of this seed, we're starting to see players kind of trending towards the same places. But what's also nice is that there's no clear leader really at this point. We've got kind of even dungeon counts for the most part on both fronts for both of our races. So it's still anyone's game at this point.
I might give a small edge to kohrek, just having that bow. But there's also the chance that we need someone on that lava bridge if we have to go into Eastern for whatever reason, so that could keep him as well.
And the advantage for our other 3 runners is now that they've picked up the ice rod down here, that might kind of send them back towards Turtle Rock, and they'll be able to finish that off, get the bow, and kind of like get back on their way with regards to that chain of items.
Solski having to use bomb strats on Vitreous here. Not the easiest to fight without arrows.
So far, not a lot of items in pod that are really coming up here. We've really found most of what we need to find. At least we know we found everything pretty much that we need to find.
Yeah, right now, this is the seed of pouring the seed where it's kind of just having to go back to places that we've already seen that the runners themselves necessarily haven't.
Solski using some hammer strats on Vitreous here. Takes him down. Very nice.
And speaking about hammers, kohrek's setting up the hammer jump. Not gonna be able to open that without the big key, but he'll be able to get the true chest in this dark room here.
Looks like Solski, with the 5-6 crystals taken care of, is looking to do Pyramid Fairy at this point. That'll be our first look at that.
It would be lovely if there was 1 or 2 swords in here.
Yeah, I think for our runner's sake, we really need to get them a little bit more equipment here.
It's not often you're an hour 20 into the seed and you still aren't a fighter sword, so. I mean, they do have the hammer, which is basically tempered sword damage, but you really want that second sword. Solski also restocking his bombs a little bit, using most of them on Vitreous.
So, did Dark Shadows bail out of Mire there? Looks like we went for potions there, the potion shop. I didn't see them finish the dungeon.
I don't believe he has the big key yet, so he couldn't get to the back part.
That's right, he hasn't done Ice Palace yet. Okay, gotcha. Oh, small key to Thieves' Town there in the Pyramid Fairy.
That could just do at least the big chest down there, but with Thieves' Town being a pendant, you really don't want to go there unless you absolutely have to.
That's true. You've got, all of the item locations in the back of Thieves' Town there, plus now that big chest. You could full clear it. If you're running out of place to check for items or for keys, I guess, at this point, then that might be the place to go.
And we do have the big key, so we can get back there. kohrek is just now getting into Eastern for the first time.
I'm sure Dark Shadows is a little annoyed having just picked up that Misery Mire key after just leaving the dungeon.
Yeah, it's always kind of like a slap in the face in the game of getting an item that you needed from the dungeon you just left.
So I think that's our last small key to Turtle Rock here in the eastern part of Eastern Palace. So if any of our runners are looking to do the Lava Island and get all the way to Trinex, then this is where they're going to have to at least make a quick stop in.
All depends if that key from Lava Island was needed, that Eastern Palace key.
And unfortunately, kohrek is not going to be able to give us that answer because they did not pick up the big key for Eastern Palace in the Lava Island at Turtle Rock.
Yeah, he saved his key, went to Laser Bridge. That's where he got his bow. So it really depends on if Eastern will actually be needed or not.
Oh no, Sigma got bounced by Vitreous.
That's a very rough fight with no bow and fighter sword.
And he's just going to peace out, come back a little bit later.
Kohrek happily finding his another pod key, so that gives him another one back. So, what exactly are we still looking for? We have most of our big keys. Boots would be nice, but not necessarily needed.
Yeah, I feel like we at this point know, we at least know where everything is that our runners need. It's just that each one of our runners is missing something different.
We do need 2 more sword, or at least 1 more sword from somewhere. So the question now is, where are these swords hiding?
Yeah, we're running out of locations at this point when it comes to swords, so there's gonna be something in Ganon's tower, but outside of that, I mean, we've seen every dungeon at this point except for the back of Thieves Town, really.
Sigma might be heading back up towards Turtle Rock at this point. Well, he's gonna stop at Hera first.
Which is a play that makes sense because I don't think anyone knew going into Tower of Hera whether or not it was a crystal or pendant at this point. So quick dungeon to clear out, and we'll pick up red mail for their troubles. So not all bad, I guess.
Silvers were on Argus. It just looks like Kohrek is making their first dip into Swamp.
Yeah, I think Swamp Palace and Ice Palace being the dungeons that kohrek needs to finish off to pick up any remaining keys that they might be missing. So kind of out of options at this point, so it makes sense to start digging into these ones. They probably wanted to go mode them if possible, but it is unlikely that they're going to be doing that.
And Sigma has a date with Trolldorm. And Trolldorm gets his first victim of the night.
So with that Misery Mire big key in hand, Dark Shadows is heading back to Mire.
He does need to finish it, so it's not a bad play. Little does he know that if he went to Turtle Rock first to get his bow and arrow, he could make the Argus fight, Vicious fight a little bit easier for him.
Yeah, but Turtle Rock is just so far away. You know, our runners, I understand why they're holding off. They really don't want to have to go all the way back up there after they already took a dip in once.
It does look like that's where Sigma and Solski are heading, though.
Yeah, they're both starting to reach that point where they got nothing else left. They got to head into Turtle Rock. They got to check that laser bridge.
Sigma clearing out Hookshot Cave. Most likely will loop around and finish off Turtle Rock. They'll get hit with his keys, then we'll just see if they go back to Skullwoods or not to check that big chest.
So Solski, with the one Turtle Rock key in hand here, plus the one that they'll pick up in the next room, will have enough to get to Trinex.
Sigma's also making that same play. So another question is how long will it take them to get back to Skull Woods? As a runner yourself, Saba, what's your feelings on that? Do you go where the sea kind of wants you to go? Or do you want to put it off and chuck something bigger like Thieves Town at this point?
Well, I guess seeing as Skullwoods and Thieves Town are more or less in the same area, you know, picking up that big key, I would run to Skullwoods first, see what I find, and then, you know, maybe then take the dip into Thieves Town. But knowing that that Skullwoods big chest is the bow, that then might change my routing accordingly, and I might head over to Pod Eastern after that instead. I find that I get pulled around by a seed a lot. If it gives me an item, I'm like, okay, I gotta go there next. So I can see that definitely happening in this case with the Skullwoods big chest and the bow here.
Kohrek taking down Argus, grabs his crystal from the swamp. He'll be good to say goodbye from here.
Yeah, most likely heading over to Ice Palace after this one, where they'll pick up the big key to Misery Mire, and then kind of continue clearing dungeons in that fashion, I'd imagine. I'm really hoping that for a runner's sake that we find a sword upgrade early on in Ganon's tower, because it seems like we can get through all of the rest of the dungeons here. We know where everything is, but it's that sword issue is the problem. And it's such a bad troll to have to deal with, is looking for another sword. It would be really bad news if there was a sword upgrade in the Bat Cave.
Very nice. Trying to fight by Solski knocks out the big lizard.
Excellent.
DarkShadow doing a very nice hammer vitreous.
So Kohrek has 2 small keys for pod right now. Is likely going to use one of them for one of the remaining doors to a chest, I imagine, and then is definitely going to want to save the last one for Helmasaur King for sure.
So Solski with Skullwood's key in hand is going down the swamp first. Not bad, that is a crystal.
Yeah, item density wise, again, as we said earlier, like 9 items out of 10 you can pick up without the big key in hand, so it's a good play. Sigma is going to have less places to go, so might be more inclined to take the play to Skullwoods.
He's already full cleared swamp. Giving you 2 keys back to back, the game's kind of telling you to go to Skullwoods at this point, isn't it?
Right? I would think so.
Now, Sigma did skip the lava chest as well, so he's kind of in the same boat of Kohrek, of not having that Eastern big key.
And unfortunately, we haven't seen a runner check those locations yet. So we don't know if the big chest in Eastern Palace or if Armos or the Green Pennant with Sahasrahla have anything at this point.
All we're really looking for is sword, so it's not a huge gamble.
Yeah.
But if we have multiple places locked and we still have no sword, it becomes a little bit more prudent.
Yeah, if it's coming down to sword like it is in this race here, I think GT is the play. You just got to go for it and check everything in the basement before you start doing these one-off locations.
Well, we'll be able to full clear Ganon's tower, so at the very least we'll clear Agnum 1, open Ganon, and then if we have to leave, we have to leave.
Yeah. Plus, you can still full clear the tower with Fighter Sword only. It's just actually fighting the pig himself that requires the Master Sword.
If you blinked, you missed Kohrek's Helmasaur King fight.
It sure was fast, yeah. So that just leaves Ice Palace and Misery Mire on the table for Kohrek at this point. If it wasn't for the unfortunate death to Vitreous, Sigma would only have Pod left to do at this point. So it's really too bad that it's such a time loss as well. Unfortunately, dying to Vitreous.
Sigma is going back into Turtle Rock. He might be getting to the lava bridge to see what that chest had for him.
Yep, it's going to be that Eastern Palace big key, so might get him heading towards Eastern Palace for a check or two. But again, we're still looking just for swords, so might be Ganon's Tower only at this point.
Kohrek is making that dip into Ice Palace. No, he does still need that sword, as we've been saying, so he'll probably still full clear this.
Yeah, we'll find Misery Mire, a big key, and the Ice Palace big key in here.
Oh, that's right, he still needs his Mire big keys, so he definitely has to full clear this.
DarkShadows is going to be doing the Tower of Hera play here. We've seen all of our other runners head up Tower of Hera here. It is a pendant dungeon, but our runners don't know that, so every one of them has taken the gamble.
Sigma fully stocked up on blue goo. Now it looks like he's also going to be dipping in the pod. He won't be able to full clear because we still have no bow, so...
If the bow hasn't shown up at this point in the race, pod is not, it's not the place that you want to go without the bow, but you're thinking at this point maybe it's actually in there.
And since he did get that Eastern key, he might pour it out and clear Eastern too while he's right here.
Yeah, kind of do the little the double here. Yeah, I don't disagree with this play at all.
Would be especially huge if Armo decides to have a sword for him.
Yeah, if there was a sword, if someone finds a sword before Ganon's Tower, that might give them just enough of an edge, because then they won't have to deal with any of the Ganon Tower basement area.
There are 22 chests in the Ganon's Tower. We probably don't want to open any of them, unless we absolutely have to.
Yeah, because that basement, it doesn't take up a ton of time, but it is still, 4 or 5 minutes that you just don't want to have to do. Oh, and I guess kind of unfortunately for Sigma to get into... Oh, wow, so there's our first sighting of a second sword.
Yeah, Master Sword and Palace of Darkness and the...
Vanilla big key there. That is such a trolly spot for a sword upgrade to be. Ugh, I hate that chest.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where Kohrek was trying to save keys, so he skipped that chest. That is huge for Sigma.
Yeah, that might give them enough of an edge to, make a bit of a comeback here. That one item is so key. There's still a possibility, a good chance, I guess, at this point, that there's something in Ganon's Tower. But yeah, finding that now, it's just one less thing on your mind.
And since Kohrek did clear out Palace of Darkness, he's not going back there for a while.
Definitely not. So with not much else left to check, Dark Shadows is going to be heading back to Turtle Rock finally. Going to grab that Skull Woods big key in the back there and hopefully go get the bow right away.
Gonna do his hammer jump first to get the items over on the hammer ledge here. Now this is a pixel perfect trick that Sigma's about to pull off. It's very, very difficult to do. Kohrek taking down Colts there.
And Sigma pulls off the hammer yump there very nicely. Solski picks up the bow, finally, into Skull Woods to grab that. Very nice.
Definitely happy Solski saw that, I'm sure. Sigma is out of keys to Palace of Darkness.
That is really unfortunate.
He is going to dip into Eastern, though, to clear this out.
And it looks like Dark Shadows is kind of pulling off the same thing that Sigma tried here, not going to Skull Woods right away to pick up the bow, and is going to be looking to take a dive into Palace of Darkness here.
Solski, with the bow in hand, is going to Palace of Darkness with the bow and his assortment of keys, so he'll most likely be able to finish this off relatively easily.
It'll be interesting to see how much of the dungeon Solski opens up. I imagine like you would probably try and clear as much as you could, but that vanilla big key chest is one that a lot of people will skip, so I'll be interested to see if he chooses to skip it as well.
He does have 5 keys, so he's got plenty of keys to work with. Looks like Sigma's heading back towards Meyer to finish that off. I believe there is a pod key here. Master Sword will make Vitreous a little bit easier this time around.
And it looks like, I wonder if Solski is just go-moding Palace of Darkness here, and like fingers crossed that he finds something in Ganon's tower.
It looks to be that way.
I think I would consider this play as well. Especially 143 into your race, you're thinking, I've got to do something to try and speed this run up, and getting to Ganon's tower as fast as you can might be the ticket. Instead of wasting
especially
time.
with how Troy that bow was.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to feel like a little bit behind.
Say in gaming, we actually have 2 separate races going on. We have our top 2 are facing each other, so Kohrek will be facing Sigma. Our bottom 2 will be facing each other. Dark Shadows will be facing Solski. All 4 of them are playing the same seed, but it is 2 separate races going on at the moment. You get to see the Silver Arrow domination of Vitreous going on Kohrek's side. Just makes absolute Swiss cheese out of him. So that was Kohrek's final crystal. It's be interesting to see if he makes that same play, goes straight to Death Mountain or not to go into Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I feel like both Kohrek and Solski are probably going to do the same thing and just go for Ganon's Tower at this point.
Kohrek is back on Death Mountain, so that does seem to be the way he's going. So we'll see, chat, if there is a sword here for him or not. If there's not, it's not the end of the world. We gotta clear this tower anyway, so it may consume a bit of time, but at least we'll get the tower cleared. Then you'll have to go on a sword hunt. Sigma using some nice cape strats, taking quick work of the eyeballs. A little bit easier with the Master Sword.
Finally getting his revenge on Vitreous after he was bounced earlier. Still needs to get over to the Skullwoods big chest, though, to really start making some progress here.
And he needs more pod keys. That's his other
That's
issue. He needs at least one more pod key. So he might dip into a Thieves Town, I should say.
Yeah, that might be one of the only places where we could find another pod key at this point.
Just trying to check Guinness Cave late.
So DarkShadows is going to be using their last pod key here to pick up the Master Sword, something that they need, but now they don't have any keys to finish off Palace of Darkness.
And DarkShadows did grab his Master Sword. So we have an interesting dynamic. We have the two runners who aren't in Ganon's Tower with the Master Sword, while we have the two runners without the Master Sword inside Ganon's Tower.
So I guess if we want these races to stay interesting, then what we're going to want to see is no sword in Ganon's Tower.
It's slightly cruel to curse the runners, but yeah, I agree with you where we kind of, I don't know, so we as commentators hope that's not here, but it'd be a little bit more fun and make the race a little bit closer.
I still have faith that we'll find something in here, though. Like, it's a good gamble to go into Ganon's Tower with just Fighter Sword. You're probably going to find an upgrade. I generally believe that.
Kita Meyer, nothing there. Watch two swords be down Thieves Town.
Ooh, yeah. It's entirely possible. No one has seen that part of Thieves Town yet. I really thought we might see one there on Bob's torch there.
Sigma grabbing his small key to Thieves Town, so that gets him into the big chest.
Red meringue there.
Alright, so Sigma is back in Thieves Town. See if he goes up towards Skullwoods to check the big chest or not.
Solski and Kohrek with a bit of a high five there.
And Sigma is walking away from Skullwoods.
Ooh, so there is our Master Sword in the Firebar room. So Kohrek is just going to be heading up the tower now.
Very nice pickup for Kohrek for sure. So the I don't even really call it a gamble. The decision to climb Gantt Tower was definitely the right one. Solski right on Kohrek's heels, gonna be climbing the tower as well.
He's got to be careful there, down to just one heart. I really like how Solski took out the mimics there, especially in that first room. I hadn't seen anyone pull that off in that way before. Really like it.
So we're gonna see some Master Sword Ganon. We do have silver, so phase 4 won't be as bad. Still be a bit of a pain, but not 24 spin slashes worth of pain.
Ooh, so one thing that's kind of unfortunate is Dark Shadows picked up a Tower of Hera small, or the Tower of Hera small key in the back of Thieves Town. It's another like fetch kind of one-off location. Hopefully they don't get trolled into heading that way.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just pick that up also. So kind of the same boat as Dark Shadow.
Wow, Solski gets that blue potion use in just in time there before almost taking a death.
Again, Star is one of those places you really don't want to take a death on. Looks like Sigmasin's gonna be rescuing the blind maiden. $20 in the Thieves Town big chest. Not what he wanted.
We found that Dark Shadows and Sigma both picked up the Book of Medora as well here in Thieves Town.
Running around to all the tablets now, especially since they have the Master Sword. Let's see what blind job's worse. Nothing of note. And there's our boots in Ganon's Tower.
What are those?
Always nice to get boots in the last 10 minutes of a seed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What a time save.
Boots of sadness. Kohrek still checking out chests. Didn't even get one more sword before the dip into the big pig. So what do you think, Sabo? You think we're gonna get a final sword in Moldorf's chest?
At this point, probably not, but that would be quite something.
Moldorf knocking Kohrek down onto the spikes and taking his death. That was rude, Moldorf. Very rude.
Nope, we find the Bombos medallion.
It does look like Sigma's going on a tablet hunt now, looking for that bow.
And although Solski and Kohrek are not racing each other per se, Solski just passed Kohrek for the first time in this race, so this is kind of exciting to see how these two will finish up at least.
Yeah, and Sigma unfortunately grabbing the big key to Swamp, so I was going to set another place for him to go.
Oh, it's just like one off, and then another one off.
At least Aghanim's lining up very easily.
Yeah, nice patterns there, so pretty quick and easy fight.
You cursed him, Sabo. Alright, so down goes Aghanim. Solski also is on the big pig now. JARP, we did find the bug net.
Yeah, it was on the pyramid ledge, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, another sword upgrade in the Hera basement there. Ugh.
So, not what he wanted, but he won't say no to it. Sigma checking the spike cave now. Kind of going to all these one-off locations that are a pain to get to.
So we've got Solski and Kohrek taking on Ganon simultaneously here. I think it's, what, 12 spins with the Master Sword in each of the first two phases of Ganon here.
Yep, and then you just gotta do, still gotta get those 4 silver arrow shots in.
Yeah, having the silvers makes Master Sword Ganon a lot easier to take, because without the silvers, it becomes a real slog of a fight.
Yeah, you're looking at 24 spins on the final stage without silvers.
Alrighty, Solski's into phase 4. We got one shot on Ganon so far.
Doesn't get the torch glitch.
And nearly falls off there, kind of holding our breath there for a moment.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful don't fall again. Solski takes him down, though. Just gotta wait for the door to open. Alright, and Solski goes through, finishes in first place with his bottom race, with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 58 minutes, 56 seconds. Let's get some GG's in chat for Solski, please. Kohrek, very close to finishing off, so we're going to wait until Solski finishes to bring Solski in here. And Kohrek has also defeated Ganon, takes first place in his top race. Just gonna wait for the music to play, wait for the door to open. And Kohrek has finished in first place with his race with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 48 seconds. Let's get some GG's in chat for him as well. And joining us in the booth right now is kohrek. GG, kohrek, well played.
Thank you.
So, talk us through the seed. It was an interesting one for sure.
So basically, the failed spectacle rock bomb jump probably put me on tilt for the entire seed, because once I eventually got to Paradox Cave, I don't think I ever really... none of the decisions I made after that really made sense, but I just kept making them. So I feel very, very fortunate to have won this race. But yeah, I mean, as far as the seed goes, the swords obviously is the big thing. I don't know if there's one that I skipped, because I started skipping a lot of stuff, but yeah.
You skipped one in pod. There's one in that central chest in pod.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other one was in Hera's basement.
And I think the key to get the small key to Hera was in Thieves Town, I think. So that was a thing that you didn't even touch. So, but I think actually you're being tilted by the failed bomb jump in Spectacle Rock might actually set you on the right course, surprisingly enough, because it kept you away from Paradox Cave and all of the east side of Death Mountain long enough for you to be able to get deeper into Turtle Rock in your first go.
Yeah, getting the bow was big, but then I realized that once I opened that big chest, but then it also made me do pod before swamp, which was caused a double dip. So I don't know. It was definitely a big play as far as getting that early. I know that would have, and also finding the third key there. I guess if you didn't go to Eastern, you would only be on 2 keys. So I don't know. It was definitely a good play, but yeah, that was probably the only good part about that.
Yeah, it's one of those plays that like you think this is probably not going to really pay off, but you were the only one of actually all 4 of the runners to get that far, get the bow early. Sigma and Dark Shadows still don't even have the bow at this point. They held off on that Turtle Rock dip because everyone went into Turtle Rock, but did not have the big key, so could not go further, and then just never went back there for quite a long time.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I probably would have done the same thing, because once you get those first 4 chests plus Mimic Cave, you know, you're really waiting to go back for a long time, especially if you don't have the Ice Rod yet, but even then.
Yeah, totally.
And actually, Sigma's just about to pick up his bow.
And that sound means it looks like we're being joined by Solski. GG's.
Thanks, guys.
So I guess give us some opening thoughts on what you thought about that seed.
Pretty all over the place. Thank God I did ice early.
Yeah, that helped you. It really was like a very open seed. Like, you know, it gave you kind of everything you needed to just go in any which direction. We had all 4 runners at about 45 minutes in a completely different dungeon. So it was really open, giving it kind of like a unclear logic as to which way you're supposed to go with it, right?
Right. I was actually upset I didn't go mode swamp though, because I didn't think like there was gonna be anything there, and then it turns out I was kind of right, because I think pod big key was in the first chest, or the second chest, sorry, behind the bombable wall. So that was like my only disappointment.
Yeah.
So Sigma has decided to not continue being this late, getting the bow just now. So let's get some GG's in chat for Sigma, please.
Also, GG's, kohrek.
Yeah, GG's.
How'd you like that seed?
My seed was apparently a lot different than everybody else's seed. But I had a lot of fun, I guess. I was on tilt the entire time.
You enjoy that, Boots?
Yeah, those were some fun boots.
Alright, Sigma's going to be hopping on to join us momentarily as well. So you guys are still alive in the tournament, going to next week. You are now both 3-1, so good luck into your next week for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the one loss group is really strong, and half of the 3-0 people are going to be in there too. So it's going to be a tough matchup, but it'll be a fun time.
And we do have somebody in the chat with us too. Sigma, congrats, my friend. Well played.
Thanks, GG kohrek. Good job.
Hey, GG.
So I know Sigma, you didn't appreciate seeing that bow in Skull, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean the
yeah, it was the
one-loss
last
group
possible
is
location.
really
I was really hoping
strong,
that long
and half of
series
the
of
one
the
sec, guys.
3-0 people are going to be in there too.
There we go. Now we can talk. All right, sorry about that, Sigma.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to follow that long series of Book from Thieves Town into Swamp Big Key into anything like Desert Small Key, and I was hoping that would lead to it, but this was my last location left, so I got to give the chest my feelings before I had to open it.
Yeah, we saw the bomb drops and the medallion uses, so we could tell you were displeased, to say the least.
Yeah, but I mean, kohrek had already finished, so I figured when I saw the first dot done that it actually was Skull and it wasn't this awful, like, whatever the heck I was doing. But it is what it is.
I mean, that's just for how Randomizer works sometimes.
So I guess besides the horrible bow troll, any other kind of thoughts on how the seed played out earlier on?
Well, I was about 99% sure I had lost once I died to Vitreous, but I held out a faint hope that the only sword was the Master Sword in Pod, and somehow somebody had missed it. So I was like, let's bank on this, and obviously that was not true. So
It was looking good for a while there. You were the only one that had that Master Sword for a while there, but unfortunately there was a sword in Gaen's Tower, so that kind of sealed the deal, unfortunately.
oh, nice.
Yeah, kohrek and Solski both were climbing against our on Fighter's Sword.
So yeah, I guess any kind of final thoughts, I guess, on the seed? Anyone here? Anything you're looking forward to for the remaining little bit of the tournament here?
I just want to win my last match and finish 3-2. I think that'll be my goal.
I think that sounds pretty good. Yeah, go for it. Absolutely. Competition has been pretty fierce in this tournament, so I think ending on a winning record, I think, is definitely something to be proud of.
Just for me, just as always, big thank you for the organizers, commentators, trackers, restreamers, everyone involved in the tournaments that we have here. Big thanks, big shout out to you guys. You guys make it happen, so appreciate that.
Yeah, I want to echo that. Thanks to everybody. This is a lot of fun, and it wouldn't happen without all the help from all the volunteers and restream and everything. So thank you.
Our trackers who did a very nice job for us behind the scenes were Jixon and KP00. So they deserve a lot of thanks for the awesome tracking job. And of course, who can understate what Feasel and the Speed Gaming family do as far as the restreaming. So definitely thank you to Feasel and the entire Speed Gaming family. And of course, you guys all got to follow all four of these runners for putting on a very, very good race. We are going to stick with Dark Shadow for a bit longer, see if we can figure out where the bow is.
He is eventually going to run out of locations. He's got to use that Skullwoods big key that he picked up.
Yeah, I think he's going to go on a tablet hunt at the moment, though.
Thanks for commentating, guys. I'm gonna hop out. I'll watch the VOD later. I'm sure it was a fun one to watch.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much for running for us.
Yeah, same here. Thanks, guys.
Okay, Kohrek, have a great night. Thank you again, and congratulations to you and Solski. All right, so another question is, when does Dark Shadow twinge on the fact that he does have to go back to Skullwoods at this point?
You know, it's gonna have to click pretty soon. He's looking at the Swamp Palace Big Chest, I think, at this time. You know, I mean, why not give it a go, see if it's what you're looking for? He doesn't know yet what it is that he's missing, so you know, it's gonna take a little while, but slowly there are gonna be less and less places for him to look for this.
So, Saba, look at Solski and Kohrek. Look at their collection rate. It's very, very similar.
Yeah, collection 160, 161, their times being almost identical. Like, despite the fact that they both ran this race very differently. We had Kohrek pick up the bow early on, put off Swamp Palace and Ice Palace for much later on in their run, where Solski went into Swamp Palace and Ice Palace a little earlier. Yet somehow they still ended up with basically the exact same stats.
I believe that was a small kid Desert Palace, so that's going to throw one more wrench into the works here.
Oh my goodness. Yep, probably gonna head over there like right now. You pick that up, you're like, okay, this has got to be the place where it is.
Yeah, because I mean, you got two chests there compared to the one-off locations.
Ooh, shout out to Recitador in the chat there for letting us know that this is actually a required move at this point for Dark Shadows because they need to pick up another pod key, which is over here on the right side. I believe we would have seen Sigma take a look in here, I guess.
Well, it gives Dark Shadows a peace of mind they can actually finish pod now, but he still needs to get that bow.
Ooh, what are they gonna? Are they gonna head back into pod with that one more key and burn this one too? Like, I don't know where that's. We haven't seen the 6th pod key yet.
Alright, so I guess it'll be a hunt for the 6th key. We never got a pet check, so we have no idea where that is. He does have the book, though, so he can at least tell us what it is.
Well, yeah, I suppose if hopefully if he burns this key, it actually leads to the final pod key. If it doesn't, then when they go over to Skullwoods to check that big chest, they'll maybe be able to check the pedestal for us then.
Very nice hammer jump by Dark Shadow there. That was a very, very smooth hammer jump there. Gets the answer that what he wants is not here, though. Alright, Sabo, what do you think his next play is?
I don't know quite what he has left. The only thing I hope that we don't see is if he clears Aga Tower and picks up the... we're missing the boots because they're in GT, so it's not going to be the Lumberjack, I don't think.
Yeah, it can't be Lumberjack, it can't be Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess, has he done Catfish? Is this what we're seeing here?
That seems to be what he's going towards. I thought he did this earlier, though. Throwing 2 bombs into a Catfish Pond. I think he's a little lost at where to go. Throws one more for good measure. Alright, well, he is going to Kakariko, so we'll see if he makes that play into Skullwoods now.
Yeah, it seems likely at this point. You know, he's remembered it clearly, but it was just the very last location, much like Sigma earlier, the last spot I could check.
Okay, so the credits did tell us that pedestal was a key.
It's a really good thing, then, that Dark Shadows didn't burn that final pod key. Because it seems likely at this point that it's probably the 6th pod key.
All he had left to clear was Eastern at least, so it would have been the end of the world, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a time save. And he does pretty much the exact same thing that Sigma did. Bombs it a couple times and uses the medallions.
You know, that's exactly what you do. When you've been trolled that hard, you gotta give it back to the chest there.
Yeah, that bow chest definitely deserved that treatment for sure.
But at least now we'll get a nice quick run through pod down to Helmasaur, and then with the Tempered Sword there that Dark Shadows has now, it'll just be straight up Ganon's Tower. So where it's the home stretch here, which is nice.
It was just a matter of those items, that item change just being a little unkind. Definitely good for Dark Shadow to see this through to the end, though. You never want to let the game win on you. So thankfully, since you have most of the pod cleared out, just a quick run down to Helmasaur.
So as Dark Shadows makes their way through the rest of pod here, just a quick update, everybody. There is some more Keysanity action on this evening. We've got Fred versus Aaron Doby on Speed Gaming 3 right now, so that is a race definitely to check out. And coming up on Speed Gaming 1 here afterwards is some Super Mario Bros. 3 randomizer tournament action. If you haven't checked out the Super Mario Bros. 3 randomizer, it is also very cool, so definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, lots of tournaments going on right now on the entire Speed Gaming family. Between Legend of Zelda, between Super Mario, Metroid. So if you like Randomizer, stay tuned to more Speed Gaming because we got a lot of it for you. Very nice Helmasaur from Dark Shadow.
And with all 7 crystals in hand now, Dark Shadows can head up to Ganon's tower.
Yeah, just a quick climb to the date with the big pig. See if he stops along the way to pick up some chests, but I don't think he will. I think he's gonna go fly right up it.
Yeah, at this point, I think you've got everything you need. You've got the bow, you got silver arrows, tempered sword, blue mail, it looks like. So didn't pick up the red mail. But all in all, pretty well stocked up for this fight.
Yeah, I don't think he would ever went back to Hylian Ledge to get that blue mail.
Yes, that would have been the one that he missed, yep.
with a tempered sword and silvers, it won't take him too long to take out Ganon either.
Yeah, it'll be a much quicker fight than both Kohrek and Solski had to deal with. Moving those mimics around very nicely there. And Dark Shadows entering the gauntlet. I like the arrow sniping strats here. Some runners will definitely use Fire Rod instead, but I'm a fan of the arrow strats here. Dark Shadows fueled up on plenty of blue goo there, so is well stocked for the rest of this tower fight.
Yeah, it absolutely won't take him too long. Silver Arrows are just absolutely decimating Mola here. Should be too much longer. Almost up on Moldarm 2 now. Finishes a quick date with Aghanim 2, and he'll be on his way.
I wonder if Dark Shadows will grab the boots here.
Nah, decides to pass him up.
Aw.
Can't really blame him. I mean, you did sleep into the seed. You kind of just want to end it at this point.
Yeah,
But at least you finished it off, though.
Yeah. Unlike our earlier runners who might have been looking for another sword upgrade, Dark Shadows has got everything they need to get through the rest of this. And really, the boots aren't going to make much of a difference at this point.
Moldarm 2 goes down. See if he checks the final chest here.
Okay, let's see what Agatu's got for him here.
Nice triple. Triple and a double, so one more shot.
Very nice.
So, Sabatender, what's your thoughts on the cheese facts?
You know, I'm not sure who writes the Ganon text boxes there. That one is one of the more interesting ones. I am fascinated by the cheese facts.
Yeah, that's my personal favorite one. That and the one about the arthropods.
Yeah, right?
Getting his words of wisdom.
I feel like we should have like a little contest or something and have people write new quotes for Ganon.
That'd be fantastic. Unfortunately, gets hit by a fire bat and he's going to start to stride over. Firebats will still do quite a bit of damage on low hearts.
Yeah, with the blue mail there, I think they do, 3-4 hearts of damage?
Does have to be a little bit careful. At least he has a potion, so he's going to have to full life at this point. They do 3 hearts, so that's quite a bop.
Into phase 3 now, so this is good.
Just has to stay on the platform. Again, with his lovely teleports. It wouldn't think it would be that hard to fall, that little ledge being gone, but it's rather tricky.
Oh, definitely. You have to be very careful.
Very nice double on the final shot. So Dark Shadow has taken out again. Let's get some GGs in chat for Dark Shadow, please, for finishing off this seed. So we do have Dark Shadow with us. Well played, Dark Shadow.
Thanks. That bow mode, that's all I can say. That bow mode.
Yeah, Sigma had that same dilemma, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The Skullwoods key being all the way up on Tartar Rock and then having to get back into Skullwoods after you cleared it once.
And it felt like, well, okay, I was going to say it felt like it was going to be a good run, but that opening just felt like I was making all of the wrong choices.
You know, with a seed being as open as it was, you know, there really wasn't any wrong direction to go, though. You know, we had 45 minutes in, we had all 4 of the runners in different dungeons doing different things that they could all complete. So, you know, it might have felt like you might have been making the wrong plays, but in a seed that open, you were doing everything right. You know, I mean, it was all, you know, just dungeon order and things like that might have been a little goofy, but it was still pretty free and open to, you know, kind of do whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah, that hammer yump and pod with the fighter sword, though, that's a bit different.
But I mean, you pulled it off. Hammer yump is actually something that I can't do. So if it's going to cost me a race, then so be it. But I can't do it. So mad props for pulling it off there. Oh, did you go back in and hammer yump when you had like tempered, I guess, or master?
Yeah, I went back in on tempered.
Because I guess with the fighter sword, the like pixels that you would use are a little bit different, and so it was a little harder to line up.
Yeah, I've gotten where I can do the Ice Palace bomb jump with the fighter sword. That's just another one I'm going to have to work on.
So you are now 2-2 in the tournament. Are you going to do your last match next week? How are you feeling about it?
Oh, I'm going into it for sure.
Awesome. It'll definitely be a lot of fun to see you next week. Sabo, any final questions before we wrap it up?
No, not really. I guess, yeah, I guess we kind of covered most of what happened in this race here. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty good. Any thoughts from you, Dark Shadows?
Fighter sword bomb Vitreous. That was actually kind of fun, in all honesty.
You know, and that was pretty impressive because Sigma took a death in a similar kind of situation to you there. So, I mean, yeah, bomb strats, fighter sword, those are all the things you don't want to have to do on a Vitreous fight. So, I mean, pulling that off is also a real nice accomplishment. It's the little things you can take away from a run, like something like that. You can go, yeah, I did that. That's pretty cool.
Oh, quick question for you all. Did anyone see what key was on the ped?
We did not, but we assume it's a Palace of Darkness key.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't think there was much left on the table. I think it possibly could have been a GT, but we're thinking it was probably pod. Alrighty, well, I guess with that, this run comes to an end here. So I don't know. I'll leave the final word with Dark Falls here. I've been Sabotender. I've had a great time calming this race here. And shout-outs to our trackers, Jixon and Kippy 00 there. So yeah, thanks a lot for co-commentating here with me, Dark Falls.
Yes, my friends, always a pleasure for sure. I hope everyone in chat enjoyed the run. Thank you to all 4 runners for the Hecker race. Of course, thank you to Fiesel and the Speed Gaming family for putting the race on in the first place. This whole tournament's been a blast to call. Thank you to Jixon and Kepi for the great job tracking. And of course, my co-commentary partner was Sabotender. I was Dark Falls 1983. Everyone have a fantastic evening. Everyone, we'll see you on the next race.